This is about an important day in the year 2020. It is the 15th of December, the year 2020, and a great conjunction is happening in the sky. Two very important planets, according to the Hindu Vedic tradition, Saturn and Jupiter, are entering into a conjunction in the sign of Capricorn. So I have generated a chart for what I think is the capital city of the world. I think money moves through the stock exchange, and there is no greater place than the New York Stock Exchange. So taking the latitude and longitude of NYSE and December 15th as the day and 9 o'clock in the morning, if you generate a Vedic chart, it's already daytime. It is a Tuesday, and hidden in the glare of the sun, not too far from it, the two great planets, Jupiter and Saturn, are joining visually into a single point. It will be 5 degrees of Capricorn, the exact point in which Jupiter gets debilitated. So, in the Hindu Vedic tradition, we have 9 celestial bodies, including the sun and moon, and 2 shadow planets, Rahu and Ketu. Each of these, except Rahu and Ketu, which are shadow planets, are assigned different houses, which are nothing but sectors in the sky. And a planet is supposed to be powerful when it's in a certain portion of the sky during the time of its transit, and at certain points it is at the weakest. So in the 360 degrees celestial globe, when Jupiter travels, it gets most powerful when it's in Cancer, and it becomes least powerful or debilitated in Capricorn. This happens to Jupiter every 12 years, so there is nothing unique about it. So on that day, December 15th, what is unique is when it is getting debilitated, it also merges with Saturn. So 9:30 in the morning in New York, and of course around the world, Saturn and Jupiter become single points at 5 degree Capricorn at exactly the same time when Jupiter loses all its energy. Now, as you know, Jupiter is the planet which brings about the good times. It's a Jovian planet. The word jovial comes from Jupiter. It's also the planet of wealth, of expansion. It represents gold and all the good things. So, the planet of expansion is now in its most debilitated position and coincides with Saturn, which is actually the planet of contraction. Saturn is a great punisher. It brings about the greatest lessons by removing the good things from your life. And Saturn at that moment in time, in its own house. So Saturn is very powerful. It is sitting in its own house, and it is joined by Jupiter. And in the Hindu Vedic tradition, we not only have the 12 signs, we also have 27 nakshatras. Each nakshatra is a small part of a constellation, and on that day, Saturn sits in a constellation called Uttarashara. This constellation is owned by Sun, and Saturn and Sun are enemies. So Saturn will be highly irritated, very uncomfortable at that point, and it also is powerful because it is its own house, and it has got Jupiterian energy, debilitated energy there. I expect a great change to happen at this point in time, and it'll probably be a period, a date we'll be talking about for a long, long time, several decades. Now, how often does this happen? Well, Jupiter and Saturn coincidence or conjunction happens quite often. It happens almost every 20 years. And Has ever Saturn and Jupiter joined together in the same debilitated sign? Yes, they have come together in the sign. They have come together in the early 1900s, I think around 1903, then again in 1930. In 1960s, they almost came together, but they have never come together in the recent past at the exact same degree, that is the fifth degree of Capricorn. And this won't happen again for several hundred years. And at the same time, let us look at the configuration of other planets. On that day, the preceding night is actually a new moon night. It is an Amavasya, as we say in India. So there is no moon. It's utter darkness. Typically, a New York stock exchange professional, a trader, will be waking up very early, 5 o'clock in the morning. And if he were to look up at the sky, it will be a perfectly dark sky. No moon. And we have the sun, which is sitting in the 12th house of loss. And sun will be sitting with Ketu. Ketu is again a node or a shadow planet. It represents loss. So sun will be sitting in the 12th house of loss, influenced by the shadow planet Ketu, which again represents loss. I think it will be an important day to look at astrologically. This is not a doomsday video, definitely not, because with every great change and with every great loss also comes opportunity. People who have been putting up articles and videos about Guru Perchi. Guru Perchi means Jupiter's transit. In India, we consider every transit very important in a person's life. Jupiter will be moving from Sagittarius to Capricorn, and it brings about the good and bad in various charts of individuals. But what should not be forgotten is that Jupiter is now in a very uncomfortable position. Jupiter will be moving across 3 signs within a short period of a year. So Jupiter will be entering from its own sign, which is Sagittarius, into Capricorn. Will be very uncomfortable there and will quickly move on to Aquarius, which is again a Saturnian sign, and will fall back into Capricorn, which is the sign we are now talking about. So there is this back and forth movement of Jupiter. Its discomfort very perceptible in the chart, and I think the next 1 year will be very interesting times. So I invite my fellow astrologers, both professional and hobbies, both Vedic and Western astrologers, to generate a chart for this day, that is December the 15th, 2020. Vedic astrologers will note that the Lagna will be positioned exactly where the moon is. So it will be a Chandra Lagna. Saturn and Jupiter will be in the 2nd house, and in the 12th house of loss, not only will they find Sun and Ketu, they'll also have Mercury and Venus. They will have a very powerful Mars in the 4th house, and I would like to see their interpretation, and hoping for the best. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.